Good morning, Magic players. Welcome to the morning show where we discuss all things Magic the Gathering. We bring on guests and we have great Magic discussion with Q&A. And also the second part of the show, we do Decklist review. So if you've got a 75, you need some feedback on, you better believe that both myself and the community will give you that feedback. You're in the right place. Welcome to Coffee and MTG for January 26, 2021. I am your host, Nikachu, the Merfolk Master. Good morning, everyone, to Frederick, to Lord Magicus, Chris, Mikey J, Stephen, Emanuela, and Gazpacho, and M. Good morning, everyone, because it's going to be an interesting day today. We've got a very special guest with us today. We know one of the single highest win rate modern decks at the moment is Spirits. Like, the data shows that it has like an 80% win rate. It's just that not a lot of people are playing this archetype. And today we are going to unlock the key pieces, the key secrets to this deck. What is going on? Because I brought on the master, the leader, one of the trophy leaders of Magic the Gathering Online, millions of trophies. I'd love to welcome on today DoctorQueller. Thank you very much for coming on to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yes. So, for those of you who are not familiar with you, or familiar with Blue-White Spirits, why don't you give us a little bit of a background about yourself and how you became basically like a Spirits master?
Okay, so I started to play Spirits something like 1 year ago for basically two reasons. The first is because I've always been a huge fan of control style, playing on the stack, having a response for everything, be patient. And the other style is the tribal decks, tribal synergies between creatures, boost triggers, ETB. And I think that Spirits is the perfect balance between the two things. And it's a deck that can play however you want, basically. You can play aggro, tempo, control.
Right.
So this is the first reason. The second is because Spellqueller is my favorite card. And when I saw the card for the first time, I was kind of, okay, I need to play with this card. I need to build something with this card. And this is why I'm today here with you.
You love yourself some Spellqueller. And as we saw your results, I mean, you've been killing it for over the last year. I mean, you have like 1 million results. 2020 was an incredibly good year for you. So what I would like to do is I would love to hear a deck tech from you. I would love to hear, card by card, why does this card interact so well in Modern right now? Maybe before we get into the deck tech, what do you think about like Spirits? Is it objectively just an incredibly underrated archetype at the moment?
Yeah, I think Spirits is underrated. When I started to play, I was looking at all the creatures, and I don't know why, but no one was playing Spirits. Mausoleum Wander is strong. You have a good curve. You have a good turn one. You have Lords. You have X-proof creatures. You have Spellqueller. It's a counter spell, basically. All your creatures fly. So I was asking myself why this deck is not played. And then when I start to play with the deck, I start to dedicate myself to the deck and to learn by my misplays. And don't get me wrong, I think the deck is not easy to play. It's difficult. I think that if someone thinks that Spirits is easy to play, I think probably is the reason why he's not doing good with the deck. But I think that it's underrated because it has a response for everything, basically.
And like I can feel for you these creature-based decks, like we've got like basically the worst win condition. A lot of people will kill you with a combo, or they'll have enormous creatures. We're literally playing small creatures, attacking, hoping the creatures don't die, they didn't get countered, they didn't get blocked, and then we rinse and repeat this process until the opponent's life total goes from 20 to 0. It's literally one of the worst win condition in all of Modern. But we try to make up for it with the interaction, the creature interaction. All right, beautiful. Let's go. So let's take a look. So let's start off with Mausoleum Wander. I mean, this is like super curse catcher in the eyes of the Merfolk community.
Yeah, I think this is by far the best card of the deck with Spell Queller. These two cards are what allow the deck having game against everyone, basically. You want to play, I don't know, Neoform. I'm going to counter your stupid Neoform on turn 1. You want to play Undercity Informer. I'm going to Queller you. You know, these cards, I think you can't ask for something better because both fly and usually when a creature has flying...
Maybe pull your microphone away from you. You are peaking, or turn the microphone gain down.
Yeah. Now it's better.
I think now. Well, just talk and then we'll find out.
Now.
How about just put the microphone like a foot away from you? That's probably just all the thing. That's all that you have to do. We're gonna have a long talk today.
Okay, now
comfortable. Well, it sounds the same for the most part.
I don't know.
I don't think the dials are working. You just have to give yourself some distance. We can hear you. We can hear you for sure.
Yeah, I'm trying to solve the problem.
Okay, talk now, from there. We'll just do. Yeah. Well, honestly, it sounds. Yeah, there we go. Let's just do it from there.
Okay. I was saying that Wander and Queller is better now.
It sounds great. You sound amazing.
Okay. I was saying that these two cards are basically perfect. You can't ask for something better because they fly. Usually when a creature flies, has downgrades, for example, with the stats, but Queller and Mausoleum are very good with stats too, so I think you can't ask for something better.
Not to mention, like, the Mausoleum Wander gets bigger.
Yeah. And I think that the deck is perfect for these two creatures because having lords in the deck means that you are going to have a reliable counter in the form of Mausoleum Wander, and having hexproof creatures means that you are going to have a reliable counter in the form of Spell Queller.
That's right. That's right. So yeah, if you have hexproof, you can counter something. You can expect that the Spell Queller isn't going to get killed, and they're going to get their own creature back. Okay, what about Spectral Sailor?
I think that Spectral Sailor is not impressive. I think maybe it's the worst card of the deck, but
okay.
But I think that anyway, Spectral Sailor makes the deck better for multiple reasons. First of all, because you have a better turn 1, even if it's not impressive. Secondly, because it has flash. I think that we Spirit players always want to play in the flash style, you know, on the opening turn, having something other than Queller, holding up Queller for something good. And why not? Can be a value line, something that Spirit suffers, even if it's not reliable, because 4 mana is a little bit ambitious, but I think that sometimes can help us.
Right. What do you think are the best matchups for Spectral Sailor? Like just Jund?
No, I think not Jund, because there is Renan 6, Plague Engineer, and I don't know. Okay. But against Control probably is very good because it does pressure, because it's, you know, against Control, usually you go on the mid/late game, so it's good.
Excellent. All right, Rattle Chains. Tell us about Rattle Chains.
Yeah, I'm in love with Rattle Chains because Rattle Chains is the key of the deck. Because I think that one thing I want to say to all the Spirits player is don't cut your Rattle Chains. It's the worst thing you can do, because this card not only protects the creatures, that is probably one of the few kind of value line we have, but a 2/1 flyer with flash is good. And if you add to this the power of playing everything, the power of flash style is insane. Even if, for example, you think about Rattle Chains in his worst scenario, for example, against combo decks, where basically does nothing because usually combo decks doesn't interact with you. Even against combo is good because Rattle let you to have Queller in hand and playing something other if your opponent want to play around Queller. So you can go, okay, you don't want to play nothing, okay, I can go with Brogskull, I can go with Mausoleum. And this is insane for me. I think it's a super staple card, and I will not replace it probably ever.
Okay, so in what matchups, now this is what I'm very curious about, in what matchups do you want to prioritize getting this thing in play and just giving your creatures flash? And in which matchups would you want to prioritize like holding it up as like a counter to removal spells?
So the flash style, I would like to have the flash style against combo and control decks. And I would like to have hexproof against all the grindy matchups, basically. Even red decks wins.
Would you, even against red deck wins. So would you prioritize holding this thing up as a counter spell, or would you just flash it in play even if you had nothing else to do?
I think there is no answer to this question because it depends to the moment, depends to your hand, depends to the vial, depends to the mana of your opponent. So I can't respond to this question, basically.
Gotcha. Because I've been heavily criticized for holding up my rattle chains more than my comment section would like. And I'm like, well, what's the point of having this card against a deck with removal spells if I'm just going to play it and it's just going to die, and then I don't actually I don't win out of this.
Yeah, gotcha. I think that it's not easy to play rattle chains because you can play. You need to. Sometimes you need pressure, so it doesn't matter if you're going to hard cast your rattle chains. Other times you need to be more patient, and so I think it depends to the moment of the game, basically.
Okay, Selfless Spirits.
I think Selfless Spirit right now is not in a super good metagame. I think right now there are a lot of Brennan 6, Walking Ballista, Lava Dart, Get Shot. But I think that, I don't know, it seems like all the times I've tried to take out Selfless, a Supreme Verdict comes to the battlefield, and I don't know, it's weird. I think that this card is very good. 2/1 flying is good, and his power is unique. I think that this card makes Spellcaller better. Sometimes you don't think about this thing, but when you play turn 2, Selfless means that your turn 3 is going to be more reliable.
Mm-hmm. So it protects your future and more high impact plays. You know, it's like Mausoleum Wander. Both these creatures are protecting your more high impact cards. All right, Shacklegeist. This is a new one. This is a pretty new one for the most part.
Yeah, this creature, I really like this creature because when it was printed, I have to be honest, I was not impressed by the card, but I was kind of, okay, I need to try this card. Maybe it's good. And I have been really impressed by the card because I think there is a huge difference between thinking about a card and trying the card on the battlefield. And when I tried this card, I was really impressed because even if you are going to tap 2 creatures, I think that it's only another choice, if you know what I mean. You are not going to lose your tempo. You're not going to lose your pressure. You have a normal pressure in the form of a 2/2 flyer, but on the same time, you have another choice, and this choice is to tap another creature, a Tarmogoyf, a Death Shadow, a Primeval Titan, and I think this is very good, especially right now. Another thing that is good is turn 2 with Mausoleum Wander or Spectral Sailor, tapping something like Ramping Mana, Noble Hierarch, Arbor Elf, or Sweep Fear. A lot of times, Red Deck Queens players plays Prowess Creature turn 1 and turn 2 have 1 mana, and they're waiting for Light Up the Stage. And if you tap your the Monastery, you're going to block your opponent. And this thing has happened a lot of times. So I think this card is really good because it right now allows you to play without removal spells in the main deck. Because you have Skyclave, you have Shacklegeist, and you have enough interaction to go with full creatures. And I think that Shacklegeist makes Skyclave even better, because sometimes tapping creatures that doesn't matter because we are all flyers. But Skyclave doesn't fly, so I think that can be good with him.
Excellent stuff. Okay, Supreme Phantom.
And I don't think there is something to say. It's a lord. I think that I will never replace Supreme Phantom with a 2/2 specifically. I think in general a 2/2 is better because our balanced stats, you know. But having a 1/3 in spirits is very good. Is very good because he's a card that is very difficult to deal with. You know, if you go with double Supreme Phantom, you're out of the range of Bolt and other stuff, and Seal of Fire and Burst Lightning.
Yeah,
I think that it's very important because usually all the spirits has poorly stats, and having Phantom means that even a walking ballista have to deal before with Phantom other than the other creatures. So I think that I'm really glad to having a 1/3 on my team. Yeah.
I am curious. Are there any situations you side out Supreme Phantom?
No.
Okay.
I ever because I think that power is very important. Doesn't matter the matchup. I think it's very important. If you wanna be less clunky, I will probably cut one Drogskull or two, but ever Phantom, because a 2-mana flyer booster, I think it's always very good.
Okay. We got Drogskull Captain. I mean, like this is Super Lord.
This card is very strong. I think so. It's a Lord. So, okay, boost for your team, but I think that his X-proof power is what makes these cards very good. I think that there are more the situations where I play Drogskull in response to removal over Drogskull to boost my team. And this is weird, kind of weird because it's a Lord, but I think it's not easy to play this card. I really love Drogskull. I think that now we are a little bit more clunky because we have 12 3 CMC drops, but doesn't matter. This card is too strong to cut them.
True, you have many 3 CMC drops. Just a question: do you have a button on your microphone to turn the gain down?
I think the volume I can.
I don't know if you can. No, I don't think you can control the volume from your computer. Usually, you can control the volume from the microphone.
I don't think.
There's usually some sort of button or some gear. Let's bear with DoctorQueller. He's not a content creator. In fact, I don't know how often he works with a microphone.
I don't know.
It's okay. It's okay. Just keep some distance between the microphone and yourself. You'll be totally fine. Some microphones, you need to be right up to it. Some microphones are better when you're super far away. It depends on the mic.
Let's try.
All right. Let's try. All right. And of course, you know, there are some like neat things you can do with Drogskull Captain, because if you give a creature hexproof in response, it basically kills off removal spells. Like it counters the removal spells, so you can either Violet in play or Flash it in play, because Rattle Chains gives all your creatures Flash.
Yeah.
How often does that happen?
I think a huge number of times. I think that. Okay, so there is a difference between Drogskull and Rattle Chains, because when you play Rattle Chains, you are going to protect something. Doesn't matter what happens. But Drogskull is a little bit more risky, because if you play Drogskull in response to something, you need to be sure your opponent doesn't have another removal for Drogskull, because you're going to lose both the creatures. So I think you have to pay attention with this card, but I think in the right situations is very good. Especially if you go with double Drogskull, you go with Lock Chain, your opponent can do nothing.
Right. Okay, Clave Apparition, another pretty new card for the Spirits deck.
Yeah, this card is everything that we wanted, basically. Because before this card, if I would probably say that the weakness of spirits is the interaction, especially with artifacts, with enchantments. Sometimes when opponent played bridge, okay, it's GG. But with this card, nothing doesn't matter anymore. Because you play this, you can deal with everything, with artifacts, with planeswalkers, Carnival Creator, with bridge, with creatures, with Vial, with Dryad, everything. It's insane. I don't know. I don't know. It's probably, even this card is one of the best cards of the deck, but I think that the fact that this creature doesn't fly, it's a kind of weakness, because sometimes I've lost some matches for the damages of this card.
But you certainly gained a lot back because, like, hey, it removes anything. I mean, literally, like just you said, the old weaknesses can't remove artifacts or enchantments. That's still the same weakness of Merfolk at the moment. We don't have a Clave Apparition, and deals with it permanently too. I mean, the best thing I can do is like bounce these things back to their hand, but then they can come back afterwards. You just have to deal with some random blue illusion creature.
Yeah, I mean, it was the problem for spirits too. I before Skyclay, I was playing 4 Path to Exile. Okay, it's a good card, but it's super bad tempo card. If you play on turn 1, 2, 3, you are going to ramp your opponent. You are going to not playing pressure on the battlefield. So I think that decks, all the creature decks that plays non-creature spells, in some ways are going to lose something, body, pressure, or I don't know, value lines.
Right. All right, Spell Queller. You talked a little bit about this before. I mean, is this like the soul of the deck?
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's difficult to deal with Queller, because even cards like Veil of Summer doesn't matter. And, we play with Cavern of Souls, with either Vial, so you can't counter it. And Exile, the Supreme Verdict, or everything else, you can take it. So I think, okay, let me say this. There are some matches where Queller is not as good as it seems, because, for example, against a grindy match, you need to pay attention. But I think that even in the scenarios where there are a lot of removal spells, it's anyway one of the best cards you can draw on the mid/late game. For this reason, I think it's a card that you can't cut completely when you're going to play against someone. Maybe you can cut 1 or 2, but I'm not a fan of cutting all the Quellers.
Okay. It's certainly great when your opponent has like no cards in hand and you have a Queller in hand. Like you're prepared for the very next thing that they top deck.
And it's amazing. It's a fun card, yeah.
Ether Vial.
Either Vial. Hope they don't ban this card, because for creature, I think for creature decks is what you really want in your turn 1. It's the best turn 1 of every creature deck.
Yeah, it gets around the counter spells, gets you tempo, lets you play your creatures at flash speed, even though you can already sort of do that already. But not every creature-based deck can play at flash speed.
Exactly. But I think that there are some decks that use Vial better than other decks. Specifically Spirits, I think that need Vial more than other decks, because we have a lot of synergy between the creatures, hexproof, boosts, and it's very important for you, for example, having a turn 3 Queller protected by your Rattle Chains. So playing multiple spells for Spirits, I think it's very important.
Cavern of Souls.
Yeah, I think maybe the best land ever printed for Modern. One of the best lands by far. We play 3 because it's a kind of nombo with Moorland Hound, I guess. But yeah, what do you want to say about this card? It's very good, for sure.
I think you just recently went up to 3. I swear, I've seen a lot of your list play 2.
Yeah.
Was there a reason for moving it up?
I think that before I was playing, if I remember well, I was playing 2 caverns because I was playing more colorless cards in the form of Mutavault, if I remember. So yeah.
Gotcha.
And I think another thing about cavern is it's versatile because now you have Skyclave, so you are a little bit more. I don't know how to say, but you need more white mana right now, so it's very important having both the colors. And since Skyclave was printed, I think it's a staple cavern.
Do you have anything to say about the mana base, specifically how you chose 4 Flooded Strand, 2 Hollow Fountain, Horizon Canopy, Waterlog Grove, 4 Secret?
Yeah, I think that I wanted to say one thing about Moorland Hound, because it's right now it's very good. It's a card that sometimes your opponent goes with a lot of discard spells, removal spells, kills your entire board or hand, and this card helps you to refill everything basically, and it's very good, especially with Vial, because you can play something, and on the other hand, you can go with a 1/1 flying creature. I think it's frustrating for grindy matchups. I think it's very good, this card.
And it seems like you've gone up to 2. I've always criticized the decks that played 1. I'm like, well, if you're playing 1, why not play 2? So maybe 1 is not worth it. Obviously, you do think it's worth it so much you are playing the second copy, and clearly you think it's much better than Mutavault.
Before Skyclave, I was on 1 Moorland Hound and 2 Mutavaults. But right now, I think that you have a very good interaction with your opponents. I think that now you need a little bit more value line. But anyway, I'm not here to say don't play Mutavault. I think both are good cards. But I really like at the moment with the metagame right now, Moorland Hound. I think that the only card we need probably for the mana base is a Canopy, blue-white Canopy, because we are playing something like Horizon or Waterlog Grid.
Yeah, I hear you. We're all waiting for the Azorius and the Dimir canopies.
Give us.
A lot of decks are waiting for those too. You believe that 4 Snow-Covered Island is enough?
I'm fine. I feel comfortable with this.
Or sorry, 4 basic lands?
Yeah.
How do you find your matchups are against the Blood Moon decks?
Okay, this is an interesting question. I think with white-blue, I feel comfortable because you have Vial, you have 4 fetches.
Yep.
It's obvious if you're on game 1, sometimes you don't know you're going to play against the Blood Moon decks, so sometimes can be GG. But
yeah,
I think that usually with 4 basics, I think it's okay. Nothing impressive, but I think it's okay. We can play around Blood Moon if we know that our opponent is going to play Blood Moon. With Bant, I have a little bit more difficult because there is no Noble Hierarch. There is very good, but usually a deck that plays Blood Moon always have removal spells.
Yeah,
a removal spell for, and so it's not reliable. And to play Noble Hierarch, usually you play a shock land, so it's a number.
Right. I'm guessing if you are up against a Blood Moon deck, you prioritize finding an island first because there's more things in your deck that you can play off of 1 island.
Exactly, yes. Because we can play basically half of the deck with white-blue. So
Burrenton Forge Tender. This looks like a sort of a new recent addition to your list.
Yeah.
This is a favorite of a lot of Death and Taxes players as well.
Yeah, there are 3 cards you can consider in the red hate or red-black hate. Auric Champion, Core Firewalker, and Barnton. Before Skyclave, I was on Auric Champion more because facing that shadow was not a big deal. But right now with Skyclave, I think that we are okay against black-red decks. Even Rakdos midrange, we are okay. I think it's balanced because you have Shack guys, you have Skyclave, you have Path on sideboard. So I've decided to protect myself from red decks. For example, prowess decks, I think it's a bad match, and I prefer having something more reliable for prowess. And
turn 1, deal with your turn 1.
Exactly. Before this, I was on Core Firewalker, but I was tired of losing to It's a prowess decks because my opponent when an It's player goes with turn 2 Stormwing, doesn't matter if you're going to play Core, you're going to lose the game anyway. So I decided to have something.
Yeah, I can feel your pain. We have similar bad matchups.
Exactly. I think that Barrington is better against Izzet because it's synergized with your creatures too. I think that if you go with Core, I think it's the best card you can play against prowess decks, but it's alone. You need something around Core. You need a team to win the game. And I think that Barrington helps your team to go better, if you know what I mean.
You know what, Merfolk fam? I just realized that Burrington Forge Tender is a wizard. That actually makes a really big deal. I can go Cavern of Souls on wizard, cast almost all our Merfolk, and cast this thing too. I didn't even think about that. Quick discussion. I'd love to know why you played Core Firewalker over Auriok Champion. Like, this is a common question I get, I hear around. You know, why would Spirits play Core Firewalker over Auriok Champion? Does that one extra power even make the difference?
First of all, because, as I said before, we have a bad match against prowess, and I don't want to say good, but balanced match against all the red-black decks.
Sure.
This is the first reason, in my opinion. I think that you can play Auriok. It's good. It's a good card, but I think it's not a reliable card against prowess because it has a worse gaining life. And the most important thing is the fact that Core does a lot of pressure. One thing people has to consider is, okay, you're going to play something that is good, but you need a clock to win the game. And Core is way better for this reason. And for the same reason, having a 2/2 means that your opponent needs to force some spells to pump all the prowess creatures, because otherwise they're going to die. A 1/2 has to become a 2/3. So it's very good for me, this card, for Spirits.
Good for the Spirits. All right, 3-path exile. Where are we bringing these in?
I think that right now we don't need Path in the main deck. Before Skyclave, I was playing 4 Path to Exile. And when Skyclave was printed, I was playing with both the cards, with Skyclave and with Path, because I was thinking, okay, Skyclave is very good, but maybe sometimes can be clunky. Maybe a turn 2 Devoted Druid or a turn 3 Dryad, I don't know, can be oppressive. But I think that Path, even if you're going to path something on the first turns, you're not going to win the game. You're going only to take tempo. So I decided to have a better curve, a better pressure, and to play without Path. Obviously, if there are some matches where Path is good, I'm going to side in.
Right, yeah. In general, what matchups are you bringing Path in for?
Okay, against all the Shadow versions.
Okay.
All the combo decks that plays creature. For example, Devoted Druid, for example, Titan. If we can talk about Titan as a combo deck. Sure. But anyway,
I would call
Path is very good for especially Dryad. I think Dryad is a real problem on the match. So we need to have prepared for the card.
Yep.
And against Izzet for sure. I don't play Path against Mono-Red Prowess. Because Mono-Red Prowess, if you think about Mono-Red Prowess, don't have incredible creatures. Okay, they are going to play pressure, but I don't think we really need Path. But against a storming, you can't deal against a storming. It's stupid because it goes out of the range of Queller, of Skyclave.
Everything.
We have
And it
only
flies.
Shotgunist.
Well, I guess you can actually block the flyers, but yeah, Stormwing. What is the fairy wizard or the fairy dragon?
Sprite Dragon?
Sprite dragon, yeah, Sprite dragon. So I'm assuming you can also path to exile that.
Yeah.
Sprite dragon just gets out of control. All right, that sounds good. Pithing needle. You have one pithing needle.
Only one, because it's fast, it's good against Charbutter, and I think it's versatile. I think it's a versatile card. I like it. I don't think we need more than one, but I think it's good. It's replaceable. But right now I'm fine because there are a lot of Heliod combo in the metagame and Uso spells, Goblin combo. So it's good.
Damping Sphere. There's not many decks playing Damping Sphere these days. You're still holding on to it.
I don't know, but I think we really need this card because I'm not comfortable with Tron, mono green Tron. If my opponent goes with turn 3 Tron, I think we are in trouble. So I really need to stop. And I think it's good even against some combo decks like Storm, like Jeskai Ascendancy. So I'm fine with this card. I like it.
This is a card I really like, Remorseful Cleric.
Yeah, I'm in a split.
You have a creature that can interact with the graveyard at the same time.
Exactly. I decided to go with 2 Remorseful and 2 Rest in Peace because I think both are good against graveyard decks, but they are different. For example, against control decks, I don't want Rest in Peace. It's really bad. But I want Remorseful Cleric because it does pressure, because it stops Uro. And I think Rest in Peace is better against the heavy graveyard decks, for example, Dredge, Uxo spells. So I think they does a very good job, but I think they are different.
And 2 Force and Negation.
Yeah, I don't think this card needs something to talk about because it's so strong, but I think we are very good in the main deck with counter spells. We have 8 main decks counter spells in the form of Wander and Spellqueller. So I think 2 are a good number. I don't want more.
Excellent stuff. All right, everyone. It's time for the floor to have some questions. Remember, if you're new here, 3 question marks before the question, 3 question marks after the question. Helps me find your questions amongst all the comments. We got the Spirits Master here, DoctorQueller. He's killing it on Magic the Gathering Online. He's murdering everyone. And he's he's not the only one with success online, but there's just not many people. This deck has just not even caught on that much, and it's got a super high win rate. It's a good opportunity to get into the mind of the master here. So let's see. There have been some decks. How good is the new 1-drop? What is that 1-drop called? Helps we get the names to these cards. It's the 1 white 2/1 creature on the ground, and if it attacks, you can activate for a white and a generic, and you get a 1/1 creature, I think. Are you familiar with this card?
The 2/1?
Yeah, it's a 2/1.
The white drop?
2/1 spirit on the ground.
I don't know if it's playable in Modern. I think I probably will try it, but I don't think it's better than Spectral Sailor. Because even if it's more aggro, I think that the non-flying part is something I don't want.
Yeah, the evasion is really important. I mean, there's like, as a Merfolk player, there's so many games where I attack, and then I got to stop attacking because now there's a giant creature in front of me. Whereas I'm sure you much more rarely encounter that problem. You can just freely attack every turn and ignore your opponent.
Exactly.
One of the secret super powerful abilities of the Spirits deck, flying. It's been underrated mechanic since Alpha. Okay, question. Is Spirits good, or are you just the best player on Magic the Gathering online?
I think Spirits is good. I think it's when we talk about Spirits, we need to talk about two versions, not only white blue, because even Bant is reliable. And I think this thing is very important for us because having a double choice means that you can face the metagame better. For example, if the metagame has a lot of combo decks, I feel more comfortable with Bant. And right now I'm playing Bant. My last 3 trophies in the modern leagues were with Bant Spirits.
Okay.
Because I think right now there are a lot of combo decks, and when the metagame is more on red deck queens, grindy decks, white blue is a little bit better for the mana base and for the threat density.
Interesting. And we have 3 path 3. Oh, you're back to the core. Oh no, I don't know. We'll back. This is an older list.
Yeah.
Oh, you have Kira in here. You're willing to play Kira. And Unified Will. That's a classic one. Oh yeah, it's good to know that distinction. Because I have seen, yeah, you flip-flop between the two, but you seem to play with Azorius much more often. I guess that's a reflection of the metagame doesn't let combo stay around for too long.
Exactly.
Can't let those combo decks take over Modern. Gotta put them back where they belong. How's the Storm matchup?
I think that it's balanced. We are maybe a little bit favorable. I think it's a little bit favorable, but anyway, it depends by the player because I think Storm is really difficult to play. And when I face something that plays Storm very well, I need to pay attention, I think. But I think it's okay because you have, as I said before, you have Queller, Mausoleum Wander, and now Skyclave to interact with the creatures.
Right.
So I think we are okay.
Would Teferi ever be good in this deck? Turn 3 Teferi.
For sure, Teferi is a good card, especially with Spell Queller. But I think right now you have a lot of 3 CMC drops, and all the three CMC drops are very good. Drogsko, Skyclave, Queller. You can't replace these cards. So I think there is no space for Tef. Anyway, it's good.
How do you feel about Glasspool Mimic?
Okay. I think that I have tried the card a lot, and I have done 5-0s with the card. I think it's an okay card. Nothing impressive because I think this card is very versatile because it can play with, as land, as a creature, especially because we have Violent 3. We want Violent 3, and we can replace a Queller, a Drogsko, another Skyclave.
Right.
But I think that when you think about a card, you have to consider all your scenarios, and the scenario without Vial is our worst scenario because there are 2 scenarios, and without Vial, this card is, I think it's really bad because as a land is mediocre, as a creature is mediocre. So I prefer having something better without Vial and having more lines, more reliable lines, than being stronger with a strong line, if you know what I mean.
We're not going to get into this one. I'll concede Spirits is doing a little bit better than Merfolk at the moment. Okay, so why blue-white versus Bant? Does Coco not work in this meta? I think we've already addressed this a little bit. They're both playable. Depends on how heavy the combo is, unless you have something extra to add to that.
No, in reality. I think Bant is better against combo decks because you are faster. You can play turn 2 Queller and Skyclave, and Collected Company right now is reliable because you have 8 cards that interact, Queller and Skyclave, one on the stack, the other on the board. So against combo, I think it's way better.
Any thoughts on Historic Spirits? Do you play any other formats?
No.
All right. You got to get it from a different Spirits master. Oh, good morning, Dre. What is Spirits missing to be even better in the meta? Look at this. Spirits has 80% of a win rate in the modern challenges. We want it even better. What else could you like?
I think maybe another 1-drop.
Look at that.
Maybe
just
over Spectral.
So like Spectral Sailor, it's just sort of the weak link in the deck.
Yeah.
Nice. It's a 1-drop. It has flash. You can draw cards, but like, what would you want on this? Like a 2/2 or something? Would you take a 1-mana 2/2 flying creature?
Maybe an aggro creature. Give me a champion of the parish with flying.
We all want a champion of the parish. I mean, what are they? They have a sprite dragon. It's not 1 mana. They're not just giving those away for 1 mana anymore. Hi, what would be your budget alternative to Force Negation in the sideboard? Mystical Dispute, Veto, what would it be? Maybe Unified Will?
In white-blue?
Sure.
I think, yeah. Maybe Lofty Denial is good. Maybe...
What is this one?
Unified Will.
Oh, Unified Will.
The counter spells for flyers.
Yeah, that like sort of 4 mana leak, or the mana leak that makes the taxing for 4. So here's
I usually think that for a creature-based deck, a counter spell it's not impressive, because if you want to counter something, it means that you are going to not putting pressure on the battlefield most of the times. So okay, you're going to counter something, but you're going to lose tempo. The only counter spells reliable, I think, it's Force of Negation. But so for this reason, I don't think it's really replaceable. But anyway, you can play Unify Wheel and Lofty.
Oh yeah, is it Lofty Denial?
Yeah.
There you go. Lofty Denial. Blue and a generic creature, counter target spell unless its controller pays 1. But if you have a flyer, they have to pay 4 instead. Super mana leak. Oh, they're reminding us Ascendant Spirits.
Yeah, the new spirit.
Yeah, the new spirits. Here we go. Ascend.
Not in modern.
Oh, this one. I forgot about this one. Oh, I think this is hot garbage.
Me too.
It, like, takes a lot of like we already have a card like this in modern. It sees 0 play, because if you ever seen someone try to play it against you, it just soaks up way too much mana. It's the same reason why Hex Drinker barely sees any play.
Exactly.
It's it does. How about if it flew? If it had natural flying, that would be different, I think.
I think too.
Because then you can at least attack with this thing, and then late game, it's just you can sink your mana into it, just like you sink mana into Spectral Sailor anyway. But it doesn't fly, so it's just a 1/1. It's a Merfolk of the Pearl Trident. All right, here's a good question. How good is Spirits against the Uro piles? Uro is the menace of the format. How do you feel your chances?
I think
all the versions, Omnath, Sultai, and Temur.
I think control decks, control in general, I think it's our best match. I think, because every creature is insane in the match. If you think about Mausoleum Wander, very good. Rattle Chain's fantastic. Selfless Protect from Sweepers. Spellcaller is the best card in the match. Drugsko is annoying. Even Skyclave is good because you interact with Planeswalkers, Uro, Omnath. I think it it's very difficult to lose against control if you have a decent hand and you have a good gameplay, because you have Cavern 2, Vials 2. You can agree with me with this. And for example, the showcase I did, I faced something like 6 control decks in the first 9 rounds.
No wonder you got like second place.
Yeah, one of the reasons I did very well in the showcase was because I faced control decks basically, and I think we are very good against.
I think a lot of I got a 5-0 with vampires just because I had like Ether Vial and Cavernous Souls. And I played against like 3 Uro decks. That was the reason I went 5-0. You can get Cavernous Souls and Ether Vial gets you pretty far against those decks because they do play a lot of counter spells, and it's like a free win if they have a counter heavy hand. Are there any new cards from Kaldheim that you are eager to play test? Are you interested in anything in the new set?
I don't think. I've seen the set, but I don't think.
Gotcha. How does Burnton work with creatures attacking? Can it sack to prevent damage from an attacking creature?
Yes, if it's red, obviously.
Yeah, if it's red. Just sacrifice it, prevent all damage, or red source of your choice would deal this turn.
Yeah, I remember one time I was playing against Izzet Prowess, and on the same turn I blocked with Baronton as 6/7 Sweet Fear, and then I sacked the creature to prevent the other 10 damages of Sprite Dragon. So yeah, it works.
Could there be a mid-range Spirits deck with Lingering Souls?
You can build an Esper Spirits, I guess, but I don't know how reliable is the deck. Why splashing white when you can play Band? I don't see a real reason.
Again, it's like another 3-drop that would like compete with your other 3 drops in the deck. And we already like Teferi Time Raveler, not a lot of space for that, and that's a pretty good card. Lingering Souls would really have to go over the top to just push out the other cards. Realm Walker from Kaldheim, is it a good option for meta or for tribes?
Yeah, I think it's not bad. I don't think it's good for Spirit. Maybe you can do a Bant version with Realm Walker over Coco, but I'm not sure. Anyway, I think this card can see play in Elves.
Okay, how about Clarion
Arrangements? I don't know, but in Elves, I don't like this card.
No, you don't?
I don't like because
spell each turn, create a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying.
No, because this scenario,
yeah,
we are not a deck that plays multiple spells in our turn. We want to wait our opponent and try to respond to it.
Yeah, it's very important to understand that putting a creature in play with Ether Vial does not count as casting a spell, so you'll never cast anything. So, oh, Ben is like, nice to officially meet you. I have been playing Spirits for 5 years now with many different builds with great success, but how do you feel about Stoneforge Mystic in Spirits? I gotta let someone in. I'll be back in a second.
I have to try it. I think a version with kind of Death and Taxis Spirit version, I think it's good. I don't know if it's better than the normal Spirit building, but I think it's good. You can do it.
It's playable.
Yeah.
Are you actually a doctor, and how often do you play leagues?
Yeah, the reason of my name is because I'm a physiotherapist, so I decided to call doctor.
There's some truth to this name.
Yeah, it's a mix of the two things, my two patients, basically.
your two trades, because that's interesting, because it seems. Well, how long have you been playing on Magic the Gathering Online? Because you took up, I mean, you dedicated yourself to Queller, I guess, early on, or how do I put it? Like, you've only, as far as the results go, I see you've got
I
since
yeah.
2020.
I started to play Magic the Gathering online on, I think, July. Yeah.
Yeah, so you're sort of new.
Kinda, yeah.
Hey, I have an interview. So anyway, okay, so yeah, you're pretty new here, but you were already on Spell Queller in the first place. Why don't any shapeshifters make the cut?
What? The new shapeshifters?
Yes. Well, I guess any shapeshifter.
Because I don't. If I remember all the shapeshifters, I don't think there is something. Maybe Ansel Mariner is a shapeshifter.
Yes,
Ansel,
that's right.
I think it's the only playable card in Spirits. It's not bad, especially if you need more protection.
Mm-hmm. Do you playtest this card?
I'm not a fan of this card. I'm not a fan of this card because I think Spirits doesn't really need other protection. You already have a lot of protection with Rattle Chains, Drug Skull, sometimes Mausoleum Wander, other times with Queller. So I prefer having something other, for example, more interaction in the form of Shacklegeist or protection from Sweepers. I think I prefer having a balanced deck, especially because this card doesn't fly, and it's terrible in the late game, I guess. It's easy to play around this card after turn 4-5.
Right. Yeah, I agree. So a decent deck in the hands of a skilled pilot can do better than a good deck / great deck in the hands of an unskilled pilot. I guess the idea is like, well, I mean,
Absolutely.
This is assuming Spirits is like, you know, only mediocre. Spirits might be like really, really good, but like, what's your take on this? How big? What they're really asking is how big of an edge do you get from like mastering your deck?
I think that the reason why I think about it,
Oh, you're cutting out a little bit. Are you still with us? Do we have a pulse? Is it just me, or can you guys still hear me? Am I still here? Or is it just Dr. Queller? I think Dr. Queller got disconnected. Vanished into the shadows. Okay, we're gonna wait. Okay, we'll wait for Dr. Queller to return. So I'm here. It's all good. All right, so we'll see if Dr. Queller returns, and if he returns, great. We'll answer some more questions. So I guess until then, oh no, Dr. Queller's back. Welcome back, Doctor. Although we can't see or hear you at the moment. Maybe you still have to set up your microphone and webcam. We were on such a roll up until now. Oh, the same time he froze, there was a power surge here. Very weird. The Doctor is a spirit. Yeah, I know. We can hear me, but we can't hear you, Dr. Queller. Maybe disconnect yourself and reconnect, and then try to set up your microphone and webcam. Nick, I have the Spirits deck in Pioneer. Any chance the blue-white pathways fit into the Spirits deck? 100%. 100%. And the thing with Spirits is that it has very few double white, double blue cards. The fact that there's only single blue, single white for a lot of those cards, very, very important for the Spirit. Like, very good for the mana base. So I believe that the blue-white pathway is exactly what you're going to be looking for when you play the deck in Pioneer. It's going to be an excellent source of mana for the future. I mean, the pathways are very likely going to see a lot of play. I'm actually on one of his lists from Blue White Spirits and have been making pretty good results. What's incredible is that independently of the changes made on his deck, he always manages to 5-0 leagues. Well, I mean, that's the thing. So, I mean, these leagues, they're radically changing left, right, and center. So you do want... I wouldn't say his changes are super dramatic. Like, yeah, he sometimes goes to Bant, sometimes goes to Azorius. But overall, like, it's like, especially the Azorius list, they're very, very similar. I mean, M. Hayashi, like, actually literally guts like 8 to 12 cards at a time and still makes 5-0s. But the core of the Spirits deck is really, really strong. Not a lot. I don't think that there are changes, but not a lot of changes. And still doing very well. He is wearing the custom of a Spirits. Yes, we will wait. We will wait for the Spirits. I wonder can... Maybe we can get DoctorQueller on another time, just in case there are some actual some problems with his audio. See, are there any questions that I can perhaps answer? Yeah. Uh-oh. No, he's gone. It's gone. It's over. This is a good question. Like, you know what? I'm in the same boat as you, Ben. Ben's asking, I've been playing Spirits for 2+ years, and my recent leagues have been 2-3 and 3-2. Any tips for improving or mulliganing with the deck? And you know what? DoctorQueller doesn't have any how can I put it? Like it doesn't stream, no YouTube channel. I think the best way to go about it is you actually want to follow, and we're gonna have an interview with him on Thursday, but we've got Dre here. Andre Segara has a YouTube channel, a lot of gameplay. I suggest watching him, seeing how he plays Spirits, how he mulligans, and you could take from that example. We're going to learn more about him and Spirits on Thursday. It's like Spirits week right now. Other sort of question, is Magic your full-time job? That is correct. I would more consider it a part-time job just because basically I'm technically a full-time student. So I'm a full-time student, must be part-time something else. Oh! He's back! And better than ever. All right.
Sorry.
It's okay. I held the fort for the last 10 minutes. So good. You look good. You turned the light on. Okay, let's answer a few more questions. Do you think about playing the 17th mana source for blue Spirits in Modern?
I'm playing 16.
I honestly don't know what this question is asking, to be honest, because you have 21 lands.
I think he means the blue mana, the total blue mana.
Oh, total blue. But I don't know you would need it. Like
I don't think
all cards require a single blue.
I don't think
you need 14. So you have 7, 8, 9, 13, 14, 15, 16. That's more than enough. You don't need 17 blue sources to cast these cards. You basically need 14 blue sources just to cast a blue spell on turn 1. And we also have Ether Vial, so
yeah,
this can also be considered blue mana. Completely unnecessary. Ooh, here's a great question. What about Giver of Runes? What are your thoughts on Giver of Runes in this deck?
I like the card. But I think it's better in Death and Taxes. I don't know why, but I think it's... I've tried the card. I've tried to play with Giver. But it seems like the matches where there are a lot of spells, a lot of removal spells, he's going to die. and I think it's good when a deck has few removal spells. For example, if you think about Green-White Reclaimer, it has 4 path to exile, for example, and he has to use the path in a creature. With Giver, you are protected, but against a Grindy, I think he's going to die before the other, and doesn't matter, nothing changes. So I don't know, I prefer having a flyer pressure, but I think it's good, you can play it.
Should white decks be playing Drannith Magistrate in the side to stop exile/graveyard/library decks?
No, I think Rest in Peace is the best card you can play against graveyard. Exile, library, I don't think you really need. I prefer having, in the sideboard, I prefer having powerful cards against something over versatile cards against a lot of things, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. What do you think is the best spirit hand?
Probably hand. With white-blue, probably Vial, 2 lands, Wanderer, 1 Lord, and 1 interaction in the form of Queller or Skyclave. With Bant, same thing, but with Hierarch over Vial, and something other over, and Coco over something other, yeah.
Ben says, I've been playing Spirits for 2+ years, and my recent leagues have been 2-3 and 3-2. Any tips for improving or mulliganing with the deck?
Okay. It's not an easy question, this. I think usually a good hand with Spirits is if you have Vial, doesn't matter how many lands, other than 0, obviously. If you have 1 land or 2 land, you can keep the hand. Doesn't matter the creatures you have. With Vial, you're going to do a good game. You're going to play a good game. Without Vial, I think the hands you have to keep are hands with interaction or hands very good in the core. So turn 1 Wanderer, turn 2 Lord, into turn 3 something other. But it's difficult to say something because you need to consider the opponent. You need to consider if you are on the play or on the draw. You need to consider a lot of things. I talk in general.
So they're asking, what about Giver of Runes versus Spectral Sailor? You know, we said Spectral Sailor is not amazing. Is Giver of Runes better than that card?
I don't think. I think we have talked about this question before. Or maybe not.
Well, they're just, you know, we said Spectral Sailor was the worst card. But maybe Giver of Runes could be a little bit better than that one. Probably
in some metagames. But in general, I don't think. Because right now, if you have, especially having Shacklegeist, Spectral shines. Because turn 1 Spectral, turn 2 Shacklegeist is an immediate interaction with your opponent. So I don't think Giver is better. I think Giver is better against some matches, but in general, I think I prefer Spectral. I've proved Giver, and I'm not sure about who is better, to be honest. I'm not sure. I think both the cards are good and both the cards are bad.
Gotcha. When would you mulligan?
I mulligan, obviously, when I don't have lands, but if I have a hand that is clunky, I'm considering without knowing I'm playing against these or these. I think a clunky hand without interaction is really bad. For example, 2 or 3 lands with Selfless Rattle Chains and, I don't know, Spectral Sailor is not a good hand. Even if seems, it's not a good hand. You need always to have a plan. What is my plan? What game I'm going to do? I'm going to do an aggro game. Okay, I'm fine. I'm going to do a game with a lot of interaction, with a lot of control. I'm fine. I'm going to play multiple spells with Vial, I'm fine. But if I'm clunky, if I don't have interaction, if I have a bad turn 1, or if I don't have a turn 2, it's difficult to say, but I think you need to have a good plan for yourself.
How do you manage with Bant against Moon decks? Since there are so many Moon decks in the meta right now, I had to go with blue-white to solve this since we use so many non-basics. Is this a strategy? Is this a strategic matter?
Yeah. If you face a lot of Moon decks, I think white-blue is better. So if you have to do a choice, I will say white-blue 100%. If you want to play with Bant, I think we have a lot of fetch lands, so you have to be sure you have a good turn 1, especially Vial. Vial would be very good. So with Vial, you are okay most of the times. Without Vial, you need probably a blue land and a green land to try to play your companies, your hierarchs, and half of your deck.
This is in response to the Mulligan questions. No turn 1 Vial is usually meh.
No turn 1 Vial is way worse for us. But if you have Mausoleum Wander, you're okay, because it's super powerful. A super good turn 1 Mausoleum Wander. If you don't have Wander and Vial, you need to be sure you have interaction, I think, because you're going to be clunky, so you need interaction. So Skyclave.
Oh, sorry. I didn't know you were done.
I was saying Skyclave or Queller or Shaku, guys.
Gotcha. Have you ever played Illusions Tribal?
No, but I've seen a video on YouTube and it was fun.
Do you play any other decks other than Spirits?
Not in Magic the Gathering Online, but when I'm with my friends, I like playing something other. I like playing control decks, and other tribal decks are good. So yes.
Ben, we answered your question earlier, but one question that might not have been answered is how many leagues do you play a day?
I usually play 1 or 2. It depends by the time. I usually play 1 or 2 hours. And this means that in this range, you can play 1 or 2 leagues, because sometimes you face combo decks, sometimes you face control decks. So it depends. But yeah, I think 1 or 2 hours is my time. And this is why basically I don't play tournaments usually, because you need more time to play. And after 2 hours, I'm tired and I play way worse. I need concentration, basically.
Got to protect your stamina.
Exactly.
Okay, so do you know what? I think, would you like to review perhaps a Spirits list? Help review someone's Modern Spirits list?
Why not?
Let's do it. All right, because we have a special guest here, we're gonna start doing Decklist review. That's when you can join my Discord. Look in my description. Join my Discord. There is a channel called Decklist Review, and you enter the command !review deck space. Give the URL to your deck, but at the end put Spirits, and we're only going to review a Spirits list today. And it's probably going to be a first come, first serve. We have to take advantage of our great guest, DoctorQueller here, who is a master of Spirits. We're going to learn. This will be a masterclass on Spirits. And as we wait for people to submit their deck lists, we're going to thank our sponsors, starting with themanabase.com, your home base for everything Magic the Gathering. And the Manabase is sponsored by FusionGamingOnline.com, my favorite local game store where I buy all my paper singles. And the deal of the week this week is save 20% off all gaming accessories. We're talking the sleeves, the deck boxes, the dice. You need to save some stuff. Go check it out at FusionGamingOnline.com. And if the deal isn't sweet enough, you can get 5% extra off using my discount code Nikachu at checkout. And we're also going to thank Mana Traders. Whoop, this is not Mana Traders. Mana Traders, the premier place to rent Magic cards online, and you can support the channel by using my Mana Traders link in the description below, or you can save, where is it? 15% off your first 3 months by using my coupon code Nikachu. All right, let's see if we got anybody with a spirits list. All right, we do have one. Excellent. Okay, well, we'll try to do our best. This is a Pioneer Spirits list, but even though I know you don't play Pioneer, maybe you can give some suggestions. Here we go. First place. You're just giving us a first place finish list? I don't know what the question is. This clearly is a good list. 4 Empyrean Eagle, 4 Mausoleum Wanderer, 4 Rattle Chains, 2 Selfless Spirit, 4 Shacklegeist, 4 Spectral Sailor, 4 Spellqueller, 4 Supreme Phantom, 4 Watcher of the Spheres. Spirits and Pioneer is so similar to Spirits and Modern.
Yeah.
They've got a lot of the same cards. We just don't have Aether Vial. 4 Lofty Denial, 4 Glacial Fortress, Hollow Fountain, 6 Island, Mana Confluence, 2 Mutavault, 3 Plains. I don't think there's anything to say here.
The deck is good.
The
it's
deck
a first
is
play.
Good. Yeah, it got first place. The deck is good.
What I have to say about?
Yeah, exactly. I know what you're saying. All right, let's see if someone else has an actual deck to be reviewed. Here, let's look at Gregor's. This is historic. This is Bant Spirits in Historic. And that's also interesting because they have access to Collected Company, so it's a very similar deck again. So Spectral Sailor, 4 Rattle Chains, 4 Supreme Phantom, 4 Watcher of the Spheres, 4 Empyrean Eagle. It's basically the Drogskull captain for this deck. 1 Glasspool Mimic, 2 Kira Great Glass Spinner, 3 Nebelgast Herald. What do you think of this card? In general, Nebelgast Herald. I think this card is amazing.
I'm a fan of this card. I really like the card, but I think in Modern, it is not his format because it's a 2-1. You know, having 1 Thugness in Modern, unless you are a 1-drop or a 2-drop, I think it's a downgrade. But I think right now he's unplayable because our 3 CMC drops are very strong. But right. I think in general he's good. He's very good. Especially in Pioneer, I guess, he's very good.
Oh, yeah. I imagine this card is very, very good in Pioneer. We have a Nimble Obstructionist, 3 Sky Clave Apparition, which in Exile, Uro, 3 Lofty Denial, 4 Collected Company, and a bunch of Pathway lands. I think the Pathway lands are going to be very good for this. Archetype. 2 Temple Garden, Authority of Consuls, Baffling End, Dovin's Veto, Remorseful Cleric, Rest in Peace, 2 Linvala, Shield of Seagate, Radiance, God of Worthy, 2 Glorious Protector, and a Settle the Wreckage. Any thoughts? I mean, it's a pretty clean list for the most part, except for the random 1 Nimble Obstructionist. Anything strike out at you that you would change?
Probably I would play the 4th Skyclave over the Nebel, or over 1 Lofty. I don't know how good is a counter spell in Historic. Maybe it's very good, but probably I would go with another Skyclave over Lofty. Spectral Rattlechain. How good is Glasspool Mimic in this deck? I don't think it's...
I don't know.
What do you want to copy?
Well, it might at least curve into Collected Company, and it's just a random land that it could end up like turning into a creature pending what's on the board.
Maybe another Phantom, another Skyclave.
We're almost maxed out on stuff unless we want to like have, because we already have 4 Supreme Phantom. Unless you want to go like 4 Lofty Denial. Well, how many mana sources do you think a deck like this needs? Because there's 23 lands here. And we don't have Vial.
there is no hierarchy, so
Yeah, no hierarch in historic.
yeah, maybe 24, 23, or 24. But there is Glasspool Mimic, so I think it's fine with the mana base.
All right, sweet. So maybe before we leave off, is there a nice Spirits budget deck in paper, Magic Gathering Online, under 100 ticks?
I think you can build a budget Spirit deck. You play without negations, you play without Cavern of Souls. Spirits are not expensive. Maybe only Skyclave something, but you can play without Cavern, negations, maybe without Vial.
You basically have to cut all the expensive mana cards. No Cavern of Souls, no Vial. But even then, like, well, I guess there is a possible blue-white Spirits with, like, Glacial Fortress, maybe the Pathway lands, a bunch of plains and islands. I guess that's possible.
Yeah, I think you can do something without Vial and with Path to Exile, with threat density. I think you can build. I don't know if, because I think Spirits, when goes with Mausoleum Wander turn 1, is okay. So with Spectral, with Mausoleum, you can build something for sure.
Excellent. All right, so that's all the time we have today, but I really appreciate our guest, DoctorQueller, for showing up today. It was really insightful to hear from his mouth how the Spirits deck works in Modern, how it interacts, and how, you know, how it performs, because, I mean, you're just killing them right now. And, you know, not enough people are taking the lead. I mean, like, clearly you're on top of the leaderboard. You're smashing everyone. The data's out that Spirits has like an 80% win rate in like the big events. And not enough people are really, they're like, basically everyone's ignoring it. Oh, maybe a question for myself. Do you think, because honestly, Plague Engineer is such a pain, but I don't see Plague Engineer all that much right now. Do you think that is a great benefit right now to the Spirits deck, or how well did you perform against Plague Engineer in the past?
For sure, not seeing Plague Engineer for me is fantastic, because I think it's a pain in the ass for every tribal, especially for Spirits, because we have half of the deck with one Tugnus, basically. Even if now we have Skyclaves, so we can interact with Plague Engineer, but I think that when Plague Engineer enters the battlefield, does damage to Spirits. So I'm super fine to see Lur's decks that doesn't play Plague Engineer.
Thanks to Lurus, they cannot play Plague Engineer.
Exactly. Don't ban Lurus.
Don't ban Lurus. Or ban the mechanic, but don't ban the creature. I'm sure they'll still use it. So anyway, that's all the time we have today. I'm going to stream today, but not immediately after the show. I'll do it within an hour. But again, I'd love to thank DoctorQueller for coming down, talking to us about this deck. And you know what? If you can, maybe in the future, when things change, when things develop, a new Spirits card is revealed, I'd love to have you back on to talk about where Spirits is in the metagame, because you know you're doing really well. And I love getting these insights to archetypes like this. That and there's just not enough Spirits information out there. I don't think there's enough Spirits information at all.
I would like, to be honest, I would like to open a channel in the future, not only to play with Spirits, but to talk about Spirits, because I think I really like to talk about it, maybe with other Spirit players, because I think every day I learn something, so I would like to hear all the thoughts about the other players, for sure.
Easily you could do that. You get an instant following if you do so.
Thank you. Right. Thanks so much.
So anyway, this has been Nikachu, Merfolk Master, here with Spirits Master DoctorQueller, talking about the position of modern Spirits in Modern. Thank you for joining me today. Keep brewing that coffee, and we'll keep brewing the conversation, and I'll see you next time.